welcome to Hops and Highways, your weekly newscast dedicated to the road building industry. My name is Jessica Lombardo, and we are back this week, joined by Dormy Roberts, Associate Editor. And we're here to unpack the news that you may have missed and share some best practices with you. But first, we have to share who won our fancy koozie this week. And it's Joe Dagler. He's the General Crew Chief for the Town of Clarence Highway Department.
Congratulations, Joe. We'll be putting your koozie right in the mail next week. So you might be wondering, how do I get one of these super cool koozies just like Joe? Well, by filling out the form on our website. And we'll post a link throughout the week so there are multiple chances to enter. So this week, I am doing an S-Bomb COVID. Not really what it's called, 2.0 by Ale Asylum in Madison, Wisconsin. So this is their second installment of the beer. It's a hazy pale ale, and it has citrus hops, and it's a really good beer. Jess, what are you drinking?
We were really concerned with how Dormy was going to get around swearing on live Facebook land without, doing that. But anyways, I'm just drinking Busch Light this week because it was the easiest thing to grab and it's my favorite and I needed that comfort with me today. So cheers. We made it through another week and welcome.
Cheers.
So, like I said, we missed last week and we want to dive right into the news that happened while we were out. So advisors to President Biden are preparing a $4 trillion package to boost the economy, reduce emissions, and narrow economic inequality with a sweeping infrastructure package at its core. And this week, Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, he appeared for the very first time in a Senate confirmation hearing. He laid out broad priorities for the Biden administration's infrastructure proposal.
So according to The Hill, lower prescription drug costs would cover some of the package's $3 trillion to $4 trillion in new spending over 10 years. But a bigger source of money would be higher taxes for the affluent, people making at least $400,000 a year, and on corporations. So Republicans are unlikely to support any such tax increases, which means the Democrats would need to pass major parts of this package using a special parliamentary tactic called reconciliation, which was used to pass the latest COVID-19 relief bill.
And Republicans have come out this week with guns a-blazing. They're saying that they're not going to support an infrastructure package that is sweeping like this, and that infrastructure really means fixing our roads and bridges, and that if Democrats are going to try and tie in other legislation that supports carbon emissions and Green New Deal type facets, they're not going to support it. So we'll see what happens, but it was announced yesterday that Biden, he's going to travel to Pittsburgh next week. This is where he kicked off his presidential campaign, and he's going to unveil this multi-trillion-dollar plan. And, we will be watching, and hopefully we'll have some good news to share with you next week regarding his plan, and we will drink to that. Cheers.
Cheers. So pressing the issue of our crumbling infrastructure, the American Road and Transportation Builders Association has released their 7th annual analysis of the latest U.S. Department of Transportation's National Bridge Inventory database, and have found that more than 1/3 or 220,000 of this nation's 618,000 bridges need structural repair, rehabilitation work, or replacement. And this means that there's 175 million daily crossings on over 45,000 structurally deficient U.S. bridges in poor condition.
And so nearly 89% of the structurally deficient bridges had the exact same rating in 2019, meaning that no repairs have been made to them since 2019. And the estimated cost to repair or replace these 45,000 structurally deficient bridges is estimated at $41.8 billion. Ouch. But there was another study that came out this week from AASHTO, the American Association of State and Highway Transportation Officials, that proves that transportation infrastructure is a critical linchpin for increasing economic growth, which results in steadily improving economy for the people who live in these states who have infrastructure that's being fixed.
And the report lists projects across the nation that prove how ongoing investments in our nation's mobility networks continue to help businesses grow and thrive while improving quality of life, generating more business for companies, and economic well-being for Americans. So we will drink to that.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So those of you out there watching, are you seeing higher costs as you're getting ready for the season to get those supplies that you need? You're not alone. And according to IHS Market Report, supply chain disruptions are driving construction costs up for the 5th consecutive month. According to the March report, the materials and equipment portions reached 83.3, marking the 4th straight month of price increases and an 8.5 point increase from the prior month. The subcontractor index came in at 70.5, indicating labor price increases were even more widely felt than in February.
And engineering and construction costs will unfortunately continue their upward climb for the foreseeable future, according to the survey respondents. The 6-month headline expectations for the future construction cost registered at 81.3 in March, displaying expectations of continued price increases through the first half of 2021.
In some better news, though, the Architecture Billing Index, which is a 12-month leading indicator of construction work, they're back in a positive territory for the first time since February 2020 and the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. The February report maintains the momentum of nearly 3-point bump seen in the previous month, coming in at an ABI score of 53.3, which is a substantial rise compared to January's 44.9. A score above 50 indicates an increase in billings and is an indication that more construction projects are moving into the planning stages.
And February also marked the first time the design contract scores rose back into positive territory since the pandemic began, with a score of 51.6 compared to 48.8 in January. So new projects inquiries rose for the third month in a row, achieving a 22-month high with a score of 61.2 versus 56.8 reported in the previous month. So let's send out a cheers to end the pandemic and start more work for all of you.
Cheers. Yeah, we are very much ready for everyone to get their season started. We miss seeing your pictures, and it just seems like every year winter gets longer and longer, but temperatures are starting to rise, even if it's happening slowly. But you guys are getting ready to work, and we want to help you prepare for your busy construction season. And to help you make the most out of these coming months, we have 10 season startup tips to share with you today.
And first, you should really go on a hiring spree. So before you know how much work your company takes on this season, you need to know if you're able to rely on the crew that you have. So the keys to having the best possible crew is to hire early, which gives your employees time to be trained and to be acclimated to the company culture before you and your team get caught up on all those projects.
And speaking of training, after you're hiring new team members and before your old team starts this new season, it's important that you have scheduled training with them. Most employees, they want to do good work and excel in their job and grow in the company, but they can't do that without proper training and guidance. And if you haven't already, you need to create an employee handbook. Go over safety precautions, guidelines on what you expect employees to follow, and procedures in place for each employee that you need to work on. Have employees together for training sessions before putting them out on the job site this year.
And in addition to training, it's important more than ever that every crew member, including the newbie, knows how to operate safely within the job site. So this includes providing them the proper personnel protective equipment and letting them know about the proper attire for the job site. So long pants, sturdy work boots will protect your workers from hot asphalt and other risks.
And we've talked about this a few times on the show, but during the winter months, your company should have been optimizing the downtime by completing preventative maintenance tasks. So a winter repair regimen for asphalt companies, it consists of checking on those trouble spots that your machines have accumulated over the course of the last paving season. And you know you need to address them before your next busy season starts. So refer to your project manuals and really get with those equipment dealers now for a list of your maintenance needs before you put that equipment back on the job site.
And when you're looking over your old equipment to see that it might not make it through the year, consider buying new. So equipment in the asphalt industry has come a long way in a short time, and your employees will get the most out of every job with the right tools to complete them.
But if new equipment isn't in your budget this year, it's still important to find ways to save money. Staying on top of economic trends will help you with your budget planning and management during leaner times. Invest in learning exactly where and how your money is being spent. This is super important. You can utilize budget and project management software to analyze expenditures, keep track of tools, equipment, and billable time. And let's take a beer break to drink cheers to saving money and working both smart and hard this season. Cheers.
Cheers. And make sure that you take time before the season to educate yourself. A lot has changed during the off season, and it's your responsibility to know about any new rules, regulations, and how they will impact your business. So attending industry events or webinars will help you stay up to date with these changes so you can relay the information to your employees.
So next, you want to take a look at the work that's already on the books. You've likely lined up some projects over the winter to start when the weather breaks. And now is the time when you want to reach out to those clients and get the details on each job kind of ironed out. You'll also want to get in touch with your suppliers right now, let them know your plans and needs so they aren't surprised and you're not disappointed midway through the season.
And another tip that we have for you is to up your online presence before the season starts. So I know we've talked about it in previous shows. We've had Marvin Joels on to talk about it. Social media is a fundamental part of any marketing strategy, and consumers are heavily engaged with brands and businesses via the websites and social networks. So sites like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, Yelp continue to be the modern word of mouth that consumers rely on to recommend brands and businesses. So consider adding a social media network to your business and let your employees know that they should share photos of their good work, the jobs that they're at, and then you can add that to your profiles to bring more views.
So finally, you want to let your employees know what you expect from them this season. They can't meet, or better yet, surpass your expectations if they don't know what they are. By letting your employees know your expectations and the benefits to them of meeting them throughout the year, you can develop a cohesive team-oriented atmosphere that will help you get more work done quicker and at a higher quality. And your employees are going to be happier at the end of the day.
So that's all that we have today. So we hope that you enjoyed our show. Congratulations again to Joe for winning one of the Yeti can koozies. Look for us to post a link in the form so you can fill it out to be next week's winner.
Yeah, we wanted to keep it short and sweet this week. We know you guys are gearing up for this season and we can't wait to see the good work that you're going to be doing. Make sure that you're sharing photos with us as you get those jobs done. We want to highlight you in our Build America Friday segment on the show. Until next week, stay safe out there and cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Watch Hops and Highways live every Friday at 3 p.m. on Asphalt Contractors' Facebook page, or catch the replay on forconstructionpros.com/videos.